Hey everyone, this is Daniel.
And I'm Jun.
I'm Claire.
And we are
Korean
American. This is where we have the music.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hey everyone.
We have a very special guest today. It's been a while since we had a guest.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah. So we have Claire today. Claire's going to introduce herself in a while. But I wanted to preface this by explaining how this all happened. So we have a mutual friend, me and Claire. And one day on Kakao Talk, she was like, I have this person at my company and she is super interesting and you have to have her as a guest in your podcast. I was like, who is this person? And should we spoil this?
Spoil what?
Anyways, she's like, she's this half Mudang person. And she is super interesting and she's doing like overseas business in my company. And like just by listening to this person's profile, I was like, we have to have this person as a guest. And we met once before filming today, and she is I have never met someone like Claire before, and so I'm super excited about today's episode.
Let's not get too much into that because I think that'll be a good talking point.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get into it, Claire, would you introduce yourself for our audience?
Hi, my name is Claire. I'm Korean, but I studied in States. I went to States from like 13, and then I came back after college, so like around 25 or something. So I grew up in Korea, but kind of like was educated in States. So for me, the difference between Korean and American culture has always been like a big thing to me. As our mutual friend introduced, I am a global business development manager at work, but I'm also a fortune teller or like a tarot reader.
Wow.
So yeah, like she really likes that part of me. So we always talk about how I feel or like I see the world, which is a little different from like how I see it as a Korean or as an American, but as more of a psychic. So yeah, I thought it would be interesting because I used to call myself as a Western witch. Like I was in like Wiccan and paganism, like Western paganism. And then
What is Western paganism?
It's
Do
like
you know?
like Western magic.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So
that's
I
crazy.
used to work and practice as a witch. But then I came back to Korea and I went through some weird superstitious experiences, and then I am like a half Mudang, as the mutual friend said. So I'm now in more of a Mu-ism, but I think I still am in between like Western magic and Eastern magic. So I thought it would be interesting to talk about it today.
So you first went into the Western magic thing first. How did that happen?
So, I mean, when I was younger, since I was young, I always knew that things are a little different, like how I see it, what I listen, or like what I hear, or like what I know are a little different from my friends. So for me, for the longest time, I needed to like differentiate what I see and how other people also see. So I was always, in a way, special, but in Korea, there's a weird prejudice against Mudang, and I have to like say this. My parents are very hardcore Christian, and I grew up as a Christian, and I went to Christian school. So for me, this whole Mu-ism and everything was so weird, and it wasn't right. So for me, for the longest time, I tried so hard to run away from Mu-ism. And then I also start learning, but like I got really sick, so I had to do something. So I start reading tarot, which is kind of called as Shin-byeong in Korea. So through reading tarot, it got better. So, like I started tarot reading, and then I wanted to, like explore a bit more about tarot reading. So I start doing more of like Western magic, like how the herbs or aromas work, or like how the magic works, candle magic and kitchen magic and all those different magics. It was fun, but the Shin-byeong, or like the illness or being sick, it didn't really get away, and it got kind of serious. So I had to kind of move to Mu-ism after.
So when you say Mu-ism, is the Mu the same Mu as when you say Mudang?
Yes.
Oh.
It's like, we call it Musok-sinang, but in English we call it Mu-ism.
Oh, cool.
It's like a Korean shamanism.
I see.
Okay, but specifically Korean, not
Korean.
Oh, interesting.
By the way, this phenomena of the Shin-byeong is like very well known amongst Koreans, right? I think your average Korean would know that like most of the mudangs go through this process of they have this illness where they can't really pinpoint what it is. They go to like multiple like doctors and they don't know what the reason is, but they just keep on getting sicker and sicker, and they just know that it's like kind of their destiny to like take in their spirit, right? And then everything.
And that's what we'll call it, cure the illness.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that's the illness that you were talking about. Yeah. So what is the biggest difference, or like, can you explain what like Western magic is, sort of? Because I know a little bit about what like Korean Musok-sinang looks like, or like what they do. But yeah.
I mean, easy way of explaining it would be Harry Potter, but not the sparkly ones.
Yeah.
It's not like it can automatically, do things. But to be honest, I think Western magic is more of a science. It's about we call it grimoire. It's about like creating. If you are into Western magic, you're supposed to create a grimoire, which is a book, a recipe book of your magic. And it could be about kitchen magic, it could be, green magic, it could be anything. But the goal of Western magic is to experiment and explore and to find the perfect recipe to repeat a same phenomenon.
It's very Western.
So that's how it's science.
Yeah.
And also, finding a recipe if I could do it, you should be able to do it, and the other person should be able to do it. That's what recipe is supposed to mean.
Yeah.
So that's Western magic, I think. It's very science.
Yeah.
For Korean magic, I think it's we are more like a diplomatic. We are in between human and deities, or we call it Shil-yeong-nim. So it's like a spirit. So we have to work between like humans and spirits, and a lot of time we have to kind of please our spirit to make things happen. So it will really based on the relationship between the spirits and myself. So you wouldn't be able to do it, or you wouldn't be able to do it because you didn't build a relationship with that specific spirit. So I think it's more of a diplomatic compared to science in Western magic. So I think that's the biggest difference between two.
It honestly sounds like one of the core things we bring up on the podcast. Like, Korean magic is more communal and relational and collectivist. Whereas, Western magic might be more individualistic, right? It's like, what can I do by myself? And what's repeatable in that sense is scientific. I never thought we'd connect the themes so quickly.
It communicates the spiritual level as well, like that collectivism. And the Korean psyche. I have so many questions, but to start with, so you described as Western magic as being somewhat scientific and analytic, to the point where like if you have a recipe, other people could do that. But so my very limited exposure to what Western magic is in the movie Ghost. Do you know Whoopi Goldberg's character is a fortune teller, and she's the one who can bring in the ghosts into her body, right? And that sounded very like Korean mudang as well. Are there certain Western magic branches that does that, like intaking of spirits as well?
I think that specific role is more of a medium. We call it medium.
Yeah. That sounds familiar.
And so either Korean Mu-ism or Western shamanism, both of them, we call ourselves as a vessel, right? Yeah, we are empty vessel and we call in the spirit and then we let the spirit talk to the people. But I don't believe that those mediums are always into Western magic. It's more of their specific role as a medium or like as a there are so many different like sectors to the psychic, but one of them like medium.
Could I level set too? As someone born and raised in the U.S., I've never heard the term Western magic. I will also say, like you said, my parents.
Is it just called magic?
We just call it magic, yeah. But I will also say, as a growing up in a very Christian household too, my parents would very much disapprove of us even having this conversation. But I'm loving it. I love learning about different cultures and different mindsets and perspectives. But yeah, my understanding of magic would have been like Ouija boards or tarot card readings. And there's also this whole branch of maybe like Christian mysticism, which is like exorcisms, right? But apart from that, I don't have any clue or context around what's involved in Western magic. So I want to, maybe you can level set for our audience who is in the Western world more. Like, what is Western magic? Because I think that's what you were getting to, Jun, a bit. Like, are Ouija boards a part of it? Is like Christian mysticism with exorcisms a part of it? Or is that something different?
I will say it's a little different because when I say Western magic, it's more of a paganism. Like how Mu-ism is a Korean traditional religion. I think it's a Western paganism or like American paganism. Like, for example, like in old fairy tales, there is like talking about witch, using broomstick and they're boiling something in a big pot. I think those are the magic that I was talking about. Yeah, like in Harry Potter, like of course there are like they do things with their magic wand, and they transform their faces and everything. But they also do like potion classes or like protection, or they learn about the history of different things, or they also have like a familiar, they have their cats toes and stuff like that. Those are the magic that I was talking about. Yeah,
perfect.
Harry Potter. Yeah, I love Harry Potter.
I wanted to get a little bit more into like the connection with your deity. You said your Shin-byeong. And I know that like the Mudang people, they always have this relationship or like someone that they worship, right? The Shin-byeong. How do you first make that relationship? Is this like randomly, or like how does that specific spirit make a relationship with you?
So for us, like, this type of people in Korea, we are born vessel, right? We're born vessel, but it's not that every vessel is gonna be filled. I don't know if it's luck or not, but more like some people will be found or chosen by the spirit, and some people will not. Because I think Korean people in general are very spiritual. Like, for example, Tae-mong. I don't think there is such thing as Tae-mong in America.
What's Tae-mong?
Like when someone is pregnant.
The dream, right?
Yeah, the dream.
Did you have a Tae-mong?
Me personally or my kids?
Both.
Me, I was never told what mine was. Presumably my mom would have had one. Though if she grew up hardcore Christian, so maybe she would have denied it.
But it's not only the mother. It could be the father, or it could be the grandmother, or anyone like in your family.
I don't think anyone. I was never told there was a vision for me. Of our 4 kids, only the one born in Korea had one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
I had mine.
Oh, do you want to share yours?
My dad dreamt my Tae-mong, and it was like a really, really humongous moon. That people were drawn into and was walking towards.
So what's it called in Korean again?
Tae-mong.
Tae-myeong.
I don't know what my Tae-myeong is.
Okay, got it.
Is that a recent thing?
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like it's a recent thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we had Tae-myeongs when. Yeah.
Oh, I thought the dream led to the name. That's what I thought the whole point was.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're irrelevant.
Got it.
But yeah, like, but just thinking about how Korean people dream about their, kids or their, sometimes, like, for example, like for me, I dreamt for my friend, like, like so many people or have like this spiritual, I'll say like Wi-Fi. So I think that's why there is so many vessels in Korea. But it really depends. I mean, we don't have any saying, to be honest, especially when it starts. It's not like I chose my great-grandmother. Somehow my great-grandmother chose me out of all the cousins that I have. Am I happy about it? I don't know.
Oh, your great-grandmother
Is my spirit.
is your spirit.
Yeah, one of my spirit, yes.
Is it always your family member, or could it be just like a random, like someone you don't really know?
Oh, it could be random too.
Oh, I see.
Actually, like it was something that I would love to talk about, but there are different spirits when it comes to Mu-ism. There is more like an animism, like, spirits from nature. Like it could be from like, we call it chanshin, like sky gods, or like mountain gods or water gods. Like, forgive me for me saying God, but that's how it's literally translated. Or also like for animals, it could be Yongwangnim, which is like a water god. It could be anything, but like not human, But there are also humans. Like for example, I think you could be familiar to this, but like 선녀님, which is like no, actually 선녀님 is more like a chanshin, but like 장군님.
So general.
Yeah, like a general. 장군님 is a people. It's that.
It's a person.
Yeah, it's general spirit. It could also from like ancestors' spirit. It could be king and queen, and it could be from passed away royals. It could be also like human. And there's also, like we say, there are etc. It usually comes from other religion when we say etc. Yeah.
I will say, I think just the parallels to, I guess, Christian theology are so striking, right? Because when you say you're a vessel, Christians say the same thing. We're filled with the Holy Spirit, right? You're filled with your deity. And then, we see visions, we prophesy, we speak different languages we don't know, and we can kind of, tell things about people that we shouldn't know. And I've experienced this firsthand, right? So I really believe in this. Just the similarities are so striking.
Can you share more about your experience?
Oh, I have so much to share. I don't want to talk too much, to be honest. Do you want to hear them? I mean, okay, yeah.
Quick one.
Really quick, I think. This was. I think I was a graduating senior in high school, and there was we call them again a very gifted prophetic speaker, Christian minister from somewhere in the Midwest. And somehow they got connected with our very small Korean American church, 30 or so people. It's like a small youth group. And he's used to speaking in front of hundreds, if not thousands. But he came to our church to speak. And before he came, he asked for a list of all the kids attending, the youth group members, just the names. And once he got there, he started praying over us, right? All he knew were our names. But he started saying the most specific things about each one of us and our life circumstances, that there was not a dry eye in the room. We were like, the stuff that he was saying was really stuff he couldn't have known, right? It's like whether someone has a single parent or someone was struggling with this issue. It was so long ago, right? But in one case, someone had literally confided to me like a day before they lost their virginity. First time, right? And then he started speaking exactly to that point so specifically and directly, not to produce any shame, but anyone listening would have known exactly what he was talking about. I mean, that kind of stuff. And for me, he was talking about my relationship with my father. And, it was just so specific. And, everyone was just crying. And it's just like those types of things, that's one of the pillars of my faith in a sense. I know for sure it's like the person who gave that minister the list of names, they did not give any more context. It was just names. I trust that. And so, that's one of the experiences, for example.
When you said you experienced it firsthand, I thought you were the person who had.
I could share that too.
I now that you say it, I had one experience like that too. Mine has nothing to do with religion, but it was when I was in grad school. and there was like this like event night with all the Korean student. It was like a Korean student body event, right? And so because it was like university wise, there was like I want to say at least 200 people or maybe 100 people, and they had a raffle thing where like you were given out a ticket as you enter, and then at the end of the event you draw a number, and the first prize was a television. But it was so weird because the moment I got the ticket, I never felt it that way.
Yeah.
I knew that I'm going to win the
win?
TV.
Oh.
So I told everyone in my table saying
Yeah.
like, I think I'm going to win the TV. And it's not like I want to win the TV.
Sure.
I want to win the lottery thing. I had a very specific, strong feeling that I'm very sure that I'm going to win the TV. And I won the TV.
Crazy.
It was crazy.
Supernatural. Yeah,
Supernatural. Yeah. Anyways, my question to you, was have you met your great grandmother? Is this person that you already knew when she was alive?
The specific great grandmother, I haven't really met her in person because she passed away when I was like a year old or something.
Oh, I see.
So I have no memory of
But
her
there was a
at all.
time in which both
Yeah.
of you were alive. Interesting. And so I cannot not talk about this very famous TV show that's going on right now on Disney Plus called 운명 전쟁. It's basically culinary class wars, but with the shamans.
It's on Disney Plus, I've heard, right?
Yeah. And I know that you specifically told me when we met last time about this concept called Nu-reum-gut, right? And it was so fascinating because I've never heard of this concept before. And then when I watched the show, I've heard that term, right? About the Nu-reum-gut. Do you wanna share a little bit about what a Nu-reum-gut is?
Yeah. So Nu-reum-gut is something apart from 내림굿. 내림굿 is, to become, like it's a specific ritual that you do to become a shaman, like become a mudang. Nu-reum-gut is to avoid being a mudang. So you like push that energy down to not become a mudang. But it's not like you can do it once and just goes on. You have to do it once 3 to 5 years, sometimes more. I did, like for me personally, I did twice in a year, like a month apart.
So you were trying to suppress it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't want to become a mudang. I mean, I grew up in a Christian family, and like it was the last thing I wanted to do. Except that it's so weird that I went to this Mu-ism to get away from that path. But like I went to church, I went to a lot of different sectors to, try to avoid it. But I ended up going there. So Nu-reum-gut is, people who don't want to be a mudang to push away their path, and you have to do it until you're 60.
60?
60. You know why?
Because then you're too old. The spirit doesn't want you anymore.
Yes. You're right.
Like menopause for spiritual.
Like 60 is a very special number in Korean tradition.
Yeah.
Like Hwangap.
Yeah.
Right? So once you hit Hwangap, like you're too old to become a mudang. But, like when you think about it, then like why wouldn't everyone be like to the Nu-reum-gut, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
just in
not
case,
like,
right?
I mean, because Korean people don't want to be mudang,
yeah.
at least like in tradition.
Yeah.
These days is a little different. I am surprised by Gen Zs every day. But, there are a lot of people who wants to become a mudang. But it used to be like, mudang as a job was always being kind of like looked down. So people didn't want to become mudang. But like, why didn't they choose to just do Nu-reum-gut until they're 60? It's because if you try to push away for too long, then the spirit will choose someone else in your family.
That's what I heard.
Oh.
Yes.
That's what they said in the show. And so I wanted to ask you, weren't you worried about like some other person in your family getting the Shin-byeong?
For me, I knew I was a little different because I have I have, we call it 공줄, like lineage. You know, like I have that lineage from both mother and father side. So for me, it was either me or my brother. So it wasn't like a lot of different people. It was just me or my brother. But so I was worried about my brother. So that's why I actually did the, but not like entirely push away, but like I chose to read tarot instead. So what I did during my ritual is that I don't want to be Mudang. Or like it's not the path that I'm gonna be choosing, but let me do my role. Let me like respect you. Let me serve you, and let me do my role, reading tarot and helping others. But I just cannot, you know, like be a vessel to have that spirits in me. So that was the Nu-reum-gut that I had.
So there's sort of like a workaround where you can still sort of fulfill your duty a little bit, but not entirely become a mudang.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's what you're in right now.
I am, and
But it could change in the future.
yes, I actually met another mudang recently, like this month, and then he right away told me like, you cannot push it away. Like if you could push it away, I would push my path away. Because he was actually a teacher, elementary school teacher. Becoming elementary school teacher in Korea is very difficult. So for him choosing to become a mudang was very difficult. His parents still don't know. So he was telling me like, you know, like eventually you will need to, you know, be in this path. You are trying to earn your time, but like until when was the question. But at the same time, I went to many different shamans with my condition because I've been sick for a long time. But all of them told me that I have to become a mudang. And the teacher that helped me with the ritual was the only person in my life that she could push it down. And she was the only person.
Who felt they had the authority or sense or power to say, you don't have to become one right now.
And she wanted to become my teacher. So that's how I met her and then how I become my teacher. And I still not work with her, but I still like go to her Shin-byeong, which is like a not temple, but like
their place.
Yeah, their place. I go there. I learn. I take courses on Saju these days. Because she told me I have to learn Saju. So
but how do you justify it? Like, why are these spirits like forcing living people to become vessels, and like, why does it have to have a lineage, and why do they make you get sick and all that? Like, what is their justification?
Well, we say spirits are selfish. I mean, apart from that, we respect them. We say, but you know, like their will is good. Will is good. Like they want to help and they want to continue the lineage. And they think it's for the better and for the good. It's just that how the life people or like how we think are a little different. I think there's a perfect example actually. It's a recent experience. I met this friend of mine, and when I was looking at her, it's kind of weird to say this, but I saw a man on her shoulder, sitting on her shoulder, and he had a scissors, and what I had a vision of him cutting the lines, and I knew that lines are the relationship. So I always had that vision when I was meeting her. And then one day she asked me, because she knew that I read tarot, so she was like, you know, I always wonder why I cannot keep the relationship. You know, like I don't have a lot of like long-term friends, and I don't know why. And I was telling her it's because I'm like, did your father pass away? And she was like, yes. I'm like, I think it's your father, but your father loves you so much. And he will look at you, and if he thinks that the person is not good enough for you, he will cut them out. So that's why, but you like when you really think about it, there you will find that long-term friends. It's not that there are many of them, but you know, like if they really want to help you out and if you have a good relationship with them, they will survive, you know? So like we were having this conversation and the other friend was like, I am very jealous because I want that. Like I have too many people around me, but not all, it's not like they're always, you know, precious or like good, you know, it's not like they're doing all good for me. Sometimes they harm my, you know, life.
Yeah.
So I'm very jealous. So I was like laughing because I also saw another man. I asked if that's her father and it was her father. And he thinks that her daughter is so precious. So he wants everyone to see her. So what they want
It's
as
always
a person,
from a good intention.
Yeah.
But it's how it impacts their life might be different than what they
it could
intended.
be a little different
So
and selfish in a way.
So it's like in terms of your great grandmother, right? She wants to do good in the world by using
Through
you as a
you.
vessel and like solving people's problems by you like reading their fortune and stuff like that. So interesting.
And also, like, for me, by me serving and by me praying, my family lineage will, like, to build that talk. I think it's very Korean, but like, do good in the world. So,
Is that like karma?
한턱 낸다 할 때.
아니, 덕.
덕.
Like, so
It's like
by
karma?
me building good karma, it's gonna be doing good for my lineage. So that's also why the ancestors want to choose a specific people to build a good karma in their family.
Interesting.
You said something earlier around how you're surprised by Gen Z and the younger generation.
Yes.
Let's say openness to this. Can you talk more about that? Like historically, how has society seen this and how do you see it changing even in your lifetime?
So for older generation, including myself, Mu-ism is something that a lot of people look down upon and people avoid them. I have a lot of memories, my friends making fun of me for seeing different things or knowing different things, or like me talking about the dreams and it happening, and then people actually call me like hunted a lot. So all that experience was not that great, obviously. So for me, my life.
Sorry, what does that? What's the implication of that being called hunted?
Like 귀신 들렸어? Like hunted.
Haunted.
Like,
Oh, haunted.
haunted,
Okay.
yeah.
I got it. Sorry.
so for me, I did not want to be in this Mu-ism thing because the society didn't really give me the good. I didn't see any benefits of becoming one. But I went to this. I do a natural stone jewelry things. So I went to purchase them, and I saw this younger kids tattooed with like this Korean like 부적 or like what is the 부적?
Pujak's like a little thing that like the shamans write out to act like a good like a charm thing.
Oh, okay.
So like there are like symbols or charms, and also they carry around the specific tools that we use for reading, and they tell everyone that I'm like Mudang. You know, like think about the TikTok,
Yeah.
and like Instagram or
It's
like
becoming
TV
trendy?
too. Yeah.
Oh,
They
more
don't
accepted.
hide away from the fact that they are in this world. So I also asked like one of them, because I was so curious, like, why did you want to become a Mudang? Because there is no turning back. Once you're Mudang, you're always Mudang until your spirit choose to leave you. And life after is not that great either. So why did you choose this path? And then she said something very interesting. She said, but the tools are so pretty. I was shocked.
They don't take it seriously. Is that why? Or
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I think they're less prejudiced. I think they care less about how people look at
see
you.
them. That's
which is
good.
very rare for Korean.
Yeah.
Now that you mentioned the tools, I was very curious about the tools after watching the show, right? Because it's very rare that you see hundreds of shamans doing the reading together, and most of them are using this similar tool, right? They when they start reading it, they open the Asian fan thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then they have the rattle. And so
Some sort of bells, right?
yeah, so they have the rattle and then the fan, and they all do the same thing, right? And so I thought it was so interesting because how is this like a nation-specific thing that only Korean shamans do this activity, but they all do it together?
I wanted to ask before you get into it too.
Yeah.
What's the process of becoming a shaman, right? Is there, or mudang? Is there like a schooling? Is there a certification process? You know, because you were saying the Gen Z person, just, oh, I'm going to be a mudang. I don't think you can just declare yourself a mudang, right? So there must be some initiation or something.
You get the Nu-reum-gut, right? That's how you become the mudang.
Yeah. So
The
I
sickness?
mean, you're supposed to get the sickness.
What's Nu-reum-gut? Sorry.
Oh,
The ritual.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
you
there's a
can either
ritual.
do the Nu-reum-gut, which suppresses the spirit, or you can do the Nu-reum-gut, where you completely intake the spirit into
Okay.
your vessel.
Okay.
Why am I explaining?
I know, sorry, yeah. Well, I thought it was good because in line with you were asking about the tools, and it seems like kind of standardized.
Yeah.
And why is it just in Korea?
Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering. How standardized is the process in the community and the leveling and things like that? Yeah.
I think it's the process itself is more similar to the artisan thing. You choose an artist, you choose a specific mudang, you go to a mudang, and then the person say, oh, what you're experiencing is something supernatural and it's Shin-byeong. So you have to become a mudang. Let's say, that's what they say. Then there are different rituals to it. Like you have, it's not just Nu-reum-gut, but they also have to see what they're going through, the spirits, like is Hoju, which is like a fake god, or the real god. Like a real spirit or the fake spirit. It's weird to say spirit because it's more like a real god or fake god. So we call it Shin-garigi. So you have to see if the spirit is real or not. If the spirit is gonna really take your vessel and will help you out as a mudang or not. There's a ritual to it, and then if it is the real spirit, that's when you do the Nu-reum-gut to become the mudang. But these days, because I think people think less about becoming mudang, but if you're like a really good mudang, if you do the Nu-reum-gut for another person, then they take we call them edong, like a baby mudang. A baby mudang, we help those baby mudang and then teach them the rituals, what to do, how to serve deities and everything, because somehow you know certain things, even if you're not learned, but still there are some specific ritual that you're supposed to know. So we call them 신어머니 or 신선생님. So it's like those family, your new family as a mudang will help you to grow as a better mudang. But these days a lot of time they do the Nu-reum-gut and they just toss them. We call them 신고아. 고아 is an orphan. So you don't have your parents, like shin parents, so you're like an orphan. So we call them 신고아 because it takes a lot of money to do the ritual. So the bad people, the bad people
They're
will do
just
the
trying to make
ritual.
money off of it. I see.
And then they don't teach them or they don't really help them grow.
I was going to say a good, I don't know, master is the right word, but someone taking on an apprentice, mudang, they're supposed to really take care of them, help them learn and teach them. But you're saying now there's an economic incentive for them to just initiate a bunch and let them go. I see. But that's generally looked down upon in the mudang community, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It shouldn't happen, and it's really bad. And if you have seen the show, all the mudangs are very scared of the 신령님, like their god. So they're not supposed to do bad things, but there'll always be people who takes advantage of things
course.
that they can do.
Yeah.
Can we continue with the tools
Oh yeah.
and the gestures that they do. How are they so standardized?
Did you bring tools?
I mean, again, I'm not a Mudang,
Oh, okay.
so I don't carry
you're not a
around those
Mudang yet.
Yeah, God. But so there are rattles. There's obangi, which is like
Yeah.
5 different colors of flags.
All of them have that.
The same 5 colors?
Yeah.
Do the colors
Different
symbolize
colors.
something?
Yes.
So
the
what they
colors
do is that they
symbolize.
roll. So they have like the 5 color flags, and they roll it together, and they like split it out. So they have like certain things on their left hand, certain things on their right hand, and
Okay.
like I don't know if this is like edited that way, but when because they're all trying to fortune tell this one person, right?
Okay.
And they do this flag reading, and most of them are holding the same color.
Oh.
And that's like crazy.
Wait, so are the colors standardized though? Does everyone carry the same 5 colors in their flags?
Yeah, they do.
And what do those colors represent, if anything?
So there are like red, white, green, blue, yellow, I think.
You're
Yeah.
not a Mudang, so it's
Oh,
okay if
yeah.
you don't know. Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, those are
Okay.
the obangi. So what they do is they roll it to mix them.
Yeah.
And they choose a flag and they drag it to see what color it is. So by seeing the color, they know the answer. So it's like how it's part or it's a way of reading
Yeah.
for them.
So how again, like how is it so standardized? Why are they using the same tools and the gestures?
Because even though they're learning from different teachers, it's kind of like
a
same Mu-ism.
tradition.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
So based on where they're from, like for example, like if they're from lower side of Korea or upper side of Korea, like their rituals and everything look a little different. However, like those tools, how they use the tools and the purpose of the tools are usually very similar.
Okay, so you watched the show, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you when they were given the thing they had to solve, did you get any of them right?
Close, to be honest. Like, because I wanted to see, so what happened is the show came out little after I had the conversation with the different Mudang. And the different Mudang was telling me that, no, you will need to choose this path eventually. So for me, I was like, is it, I mean, for real?
Yeah.
But there was something that he actually mentioned. He told me, but you already know this because you will start seeing people's health. You will know what's up with their health. And it was true. I would start reading. I was telling people, like, for example, like, oh, you need to take care of your liver. You need to, you need to take this specific test. You have to be careful about the hormonal balance. Like, I was saying these things to people. So when he mentioned that, I was like, damn it. I'm like, but like,
It's happening,
I pay so much money to do this, I'm like, no, this is not happening. So when I was seeing the show, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna use my card because tarot card is my tool. But I'm gonna look at the picture and I'm gonna see if I can get any of them right. I don't want to spoil anything, but if, for example, if the person was passed away due to like an accident or like due to doing specific things, I wouldn't like, I'm trying to like explain it without spoiling.
Because I haven't seen it and this is not a media review of the show. So.
So like, for example, like I will know if the person died from water or fire, or if this person, this person died because this person fell, but I wouldn't know like how did this person fell or from where. Well, but this person fell from somewhere and passed away, or this person passed away because of violence. But like which violence specifically? But then there was some questions. Yeah. So I was getting some of them right, some of them wrong. So it was quite interesting.
Can I ask, is it like, do you see a vision? Is it a physical sensation? Do you hear things? Like, what makes you have these intuitions or premonitions or something?
It's always different, but sometimes it's more of knowing. Knowing is very important in our world. Like, you will just know.
You will just know.
You will just know.
Did you know anything about today?
Today?
Yeah. Because last time when we met, you said like you had a what did you say? Like you sensed something like in the shower.
Oh, yes.
And then you told me something which was like crazy accurate. Right?
Wait, let's talk about the first meeting
Yes.
before we decided to record. Because from my perspective, you were reading some things about June. I was like, oh my gosh, these are so accurate. Then when you came before this interview, you also shared some more about that stuff. And that was even more accurate. I was like, what? Oh, it's scary. Very accurate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Should we, can I say the one about the face?
Oh yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, again, this is like in that category of things that is so specific, you can't make it up. So you were saying about, June maybe romantically, he has a certain aesthetic to the girls that he likes. Specifically, I don't even know what it was. It was about the proportion of the top third, middle third, bottom third of the face, something like that. And I'm like, this is so random. Like, who could ever do that? And then I look over to June and he's like, his face is going white because he's like, how does she know this? It's true. Come on, that is such a random thing to say. And for it to be true, oh, that's wild.
Yeah. Did you have any thoughts about before you came here today?
I did, actually.
You already shared one of them. Oh, sorry.
One of them. So one thing was I was freaking out about this, recording because I'm like, okay, so it's not like I'm actually Mudang. So
you look super calm, by the way.
So there's like limitation in my knowledge in both Western magic and also Eastern magic. I know things because I'm in between, but at the same time, just like I can never be Korean or American. I'm always in between. So it's what if people get mad about what I am going to talk about, or am I gonna be able to talk in English because I haven't been able to, I haven't had like conversation in English for such a long time. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like if I'm gonna do it okay, what to do? And then when I was asking that question, I sensed that you have this specific proportion thing. I'm like, it was like, oh, you're gonna be fine. They're gonna be asking a lot of questions.
Okay.
So it's like I don't have to lead the recording. Like,
yeah, we are asking a lot of questions.
Yeah. So you're gonna be fine. So for me, I was like, okay, like. One thing about me.
Wait. This is the most questions June's ever asked. If you listen to our previous interviews, I'm always asking, but June's very invested. So,
because, I was genuinely very excited about this episode.
Yeah.
Because it's so different from whatever we did before.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is cool.
But specifically because I watched that show and I was like freaking out about how accurate they are.
And can we talk about this too? You were originally supposed to do this interview like 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then you got sick. And then if we had interviewed at that time, this show was not airing. So it all makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then it was rescheduled to this week.
Yeah.
And June got to watch the show.
Yeah.
And the whole world can get more insight into, what is it, Mu-ism? Korean shamanism through the show. It worked out.
It worked out, yes. Yeah. And also there was another thing, I think I was talking about.
Why is it always me?
Because for him, it's difficult to read him because he's very spiritual in Christian way. So what we say is if the person is very devoted in a specific religion, I would like to say God, their God, hide it behind the curtain. So it's like we see through the curtain, or I
don't have a curtain.
You don't. You do not.
Totally transparent.
For me, so it's harder to read him, and also I understand that he doesn't like to be read. So I try not to read him too much. But for you,
Open book. No veil.
no veils, but at the same time, he's the type of person who wants to rationalize everything,
Yeah.
right?
Very scientific minded. T.
And this is something that difficult to rationalize. So it's always fun to throw this kind of things to very rational people.
Ah.
Okay, so
I do want to say though, what you said earlier with
Yes.
the growing, I guess, acceptance of this in the younger generation. Same thing's happening in the U.S. I don't know specifically about mysticism, but there's a growing openness to religion, Christianity, in general, spirituality that definitely there wasn't, I'd say, in the 20, 30 years before. And I just think a lot of very famous, well-known people now are openly Christian, where I don't think they would have ever said that, for example, before. So I think it's cool how the parallels are playing out. Just this growing openness to the supernatural, the unknown, spirituality. But sorry, yeah.
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 Well,
I mean, I already
You want
said
to know
it.
more of the things?
no, she was gonna say something.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I said it when I just came into the
yeah.
show. I asked him about how was his new job. And then I was talking about, I think it's very questionable how you choose your job or position or your company because you're very smart. You're really good at rationalizing things. But when you choose your job, it's like you're looking for the jackpot. When you know that jackpot or lottery is very low, very low in
probability.
Yeah. So like I was actually wondering, is it because he's so smart? Like, because smart people sometimes could be arrogant. That like you are gonna win this probability.
Yeah, I'll create my own luck.
Like my television.
I mean, is that why?
Did you feel that way about this job?
Yes.
Oh!
Just kidding.
No, for our listeners, our dedicated listeners know Jun chose this job because he feels like, I don't have many shots left. I have to go big or go home, like take a very high risk role.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you said when you came in.
Yeah.
My interpretation was like, why would someone so rational choose such a like high risk, high reward? Like you have to win the jackpot lottery type thing. It's not rational. Like, why are you doing that? And then Jun was like, that's exactly why I chose this job.
Oh, that
so
was
cool.
That was crazy. Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was actually telling the mutual friend,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, he's so smart, but like, what is wrong with his decisions when it comes to work? Like, why? And then she was like, but he's very smart. I'm like, I'm not saying that he's not smart. He's too smart to make this decision, but he does make this decision. Like, from what?
It is a type of decision that I wouldn't usually make. In that sense, it is very different. And I do feel a sense of uncomfortableness just to make this kind of decision. But in a weird way, I think this was the most rational decision that I could make at this moment.
In that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Interesting. I thought it was more about the romantic stuff.
Romantic
When will
stuff.
Jun find the one with the perfect proportions in the face?
Can I actually
It
be
makes
very
me feel
honest?
like okay.
Can I be very honest about this? He is in a, his life is very completed in a way. Like I would be surprised if he wants to actively find someone like romantic relationship or something. But he has a very specific standard or like what he wants. But he is sitting in this specific place. He doesn't even know which way is open or if it's open at all. And he will want this person, like a perfect person, to walk into this field. Because he's not actively going out.
Which is
What is the chance?
Yeah, what are the chances of that happening?
So I was actually thinking like he is the type of person who has a specific standard, but when someone either in his favor or not. If someone walks in and like dash in, you know, that they're all romantically interested in him, and then very like specific and sustainable in that way, he will slowly kind of be used to the fact that this person is in that field.
That is very true.
All right, listeners, you know what to do.
It's very true.
You just have to be persistent.
Yeah, because he would have a lot of question mark, like why. So for that question marks to be answered, take some time. So it's gonna be very important for the other person
To pursue and be
pursue
consistent.
and to be consistent.
Persistent, yeah.
Okay. So without further ado, so Claire brought her tools, which
I
is
did.
tarot. And so we wanted to do a live. It's not a live, but
It's live.
in recording, we
I
wanted
see.
to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
a
yeah.
tarot reading. Do I have to choose what I want to ask?
For tarot reading, if you are specific, I mean, more specific you are, it's easier to read. For tarot, it's more for a short-term future instead of a long-term future. For me, I would like to look at tarot as more of, I mean, I like tarot card because they respect humans' decision more than the other stuff, like for example 사주 or astrology. They have like birth chart, you know, like you're born in this specific time and date and second, so that's why you are X, Y, and Z. But then it kind of sounds like you don't have a choice in your life. But for me, as you can tell from our conversation, I'm all about the human's decision and like I want to decide what to do with my life type of person. So that's why I like tarot card. So it kind of shows what is the big wave in your world or in your life, and what are the type of decisions you can make, and what would likely happen, or what's something that you should watch for. I mean, everyone reads it a little differently. And also for me, we call it spiritual tarot, like Young Tarot. For me, tarot is my tool. But when I see the card, it looks a little different from, like, for example, when I'm reading for the person. Like, for example, if there's a card,
Oh, you're already
it really
doing it.
depends on what image or symbols or what's their facial experience. They always look different to me. Like the same card looks very different to me, and that's how I read my tarot. Like, oh, this person is very conservative, or this person is very like try to rationalize everything, and like etc. So, you know, that's how I usually read tarot. So it could be a little different from what you can see in the Pinterest or like their Googles. Yeah. Just letting you know. But any questions?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So this place that I'm living in, it's a jeonse, right? So the jeonse ends next year around this time. And so I'm always like contemplating whether it's time to actually buy a house
It's a
to
big
move
one.
out,
Wow.
or should I just extend this contract?
Wow.
Okay, so it's more of a decision making. So would like, let's say, is it either this house or buying this house, or is moving to different place also part of the option?
I don't think buying this specific house is an option to me. It's either extending the rent or moving out to a different place to buy.
But you don't want to go to different place to rent.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Let me first read what has been going on. Right?
So 긴장돼.
How are you feeling, Jun?
I have no veil.
You're naked.
I need a veil.
No protection.
When I read the card, it says this is more like a zitio. Like this is a space that you created but can never be truly yours. This place. So I think you already thought about purchasing this place too, but that's not really an option. That's just not here. But somehow what I see is place is very important to you because you need to feel safe. This is where you want to think, and you can also put your, like for example, how to explain this? It's always like weird to mix two languages. But
You can say it in Korean.
at the same time 굉장히 안전하고 나만의 공간이 있어야 하는 사람이라고 나오기는 해요.
Can I just...
Yeah.
She said that, like, me is weird that I'm translating this, but my house is a very important place for me to express who I am, like my opinions, my thoughts, who I am as a person. But at the same time, it has to be a sanctuary. It has to be some place that I have to feel safe.
I feel like that plays into our podcast too, Jun. Through the podcast, you share who you are,
Yeah,
your thoughts, but then it's also your sanctuary too.
that's true.
Ooh, deep.
I love how you can just quickly make these bridges. It's amazing.
But I don't know why this says this, but it says having a control over the place is very important to you. Control.
Yeah.
So what it says is it's natural for you to think about purchasing the house because house is where you express yourself. So it's it's a very big part of you. If you create yourself, a part of yourself, but it's not truly yours, you don't have a control over it. So it says it's very natural to have that thought that this is my plate, this is like my preference, but at the same time it's not mine. It's very stressful. It says like it's very natural for you to want the control over it.
So are you gravitating towards the fact that I should buy a house?
Should not yet. This reading is more like for me to understand you.
I see.
About this question, because for me to read, I have to understand why you're asking this question. So for me, by reading this, I know how important a place to you and how it's natural for you to wanting to own your place, but also why you want to purchase this place. Because this is not like, it's kind of like, not 삐졌어. It's not like you're upset about it, but you already accepted that it doesn't matter how much you decorate this place or you like show yourself in this place, but it's not yours. You already accepted that. So you want to find a new place to show who you are at this time. So creating a new place is more important than keeping this, like purchasing this place forever. Because like I was wondering, like why would it be between purchasing a new place or renting this place? Of course there's a money thing too, but it says he is already decided to either move on or like he wants to create something new with a house, or just like not purchasing this place because it's not mine. He already accepted that this is not mine. But that's the card says.
Am I allowed to say anything?
Yeah.
Oh, what I hear when I hear you talk about Jun's thing, what I'm hearing is that you're trying to approach it from like is now the right time to finally buy? But what she's saying is, no, think about why you want to buy, and don't try to approach it from a rational like timing perspective, but just be open to like, oh, what if the place has to be right, not the timing. Like the place has to be the place that you will feel, happy and you can control, and it's the right place for you to express all these things, and not just to focus on the timing. That's what I heard from what you were saying, but I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that.
I mean, yeah, like for me, it was more like trying to understand like why is this person asking this question, and what I see. And of course, card is just card, and reading is just reading. I'm not saying I always get things right, but that's what I read from it. So let's see if I want to recommend purchasing a new place or keeping this place.
It's so exciting. Would you also move on to where that specific place could be?
Real estate speculation. Hot tips from Korean American podcast.
Okay.
That was a knowing. Ooh.
So
How is the like I realized the way that you compose the cards are different from last time. What does that mean?
So the spread really depends on the question. So for this, it's either or that. You have to make decision.
Clear decision.
So what I'm reading is not this decision is right or wrong, because from reading tarot for a long time, I understand that people don't listen. They will be the one making decision. I like that. I don't want to make decisions for other people. So it's gonna be you making decision. What I'm gonna be reading is what are the concerns or things that you need to think about when you are making this kind of decision.
Okay.
So what it says is you're very independent. You are very, I think it's same with your relationship, but it's like you're very completed with your life. So either you stay in this place or move to another place, you're always gonna be you. So that you don't have to think too much about where to go and how to go, because you are always gonna stay as who you are. But staying in this place is, the card says you want some changes. There are things that you like about this place, but also there are changes in your thoughts and your what you want to keep and what you want to let out. So by staying here, like you're not going to be able to make that. I mean, you can make those changes, but it says because you want to make this change, it's less likely that you want to stay here. But it also says if you are trying to move to somewhere else and to purchase a place, you are the type of person who is not happy about being tied to a specific place for the longest time.
That's what he always says. Yeah.
So you want to find like something of your own, like create your own space, because space is very important to you. But at the same time, just thought about being tied to a specific place, and what if you don't like it anymore? Like, it's funny because you're very rational, but you're concerned about your feelings. What if you don't, like it says, what if I don't like this place anymore? Or what if there's a reason why I don't want to move, to stay in this new place anymore? And what's going to happen because I'm tied to this place? So that's why you would be concerned for both places. For me, my suggestion would be staying here for longer, because even though you want to like move somewhere and find your own place, I think you're still kind of not scared but concerned about what if. But staying here is more of a safer decisions, right? And I will say, if you make that safe decision and think about what I really want from the next place that I want to live in, I think you will, because it says you will like to pick and choose what you want to do with your space. And I will think that it will probably take some time. So, yeah. I will say purchasing, I don't know, like, it says you do not like being tied. Or like make a long-term decision. Long-term decision? Yeah. Or something that is out of your control, to be specific. Because being tied to a place it means you are not really in control. So it's kind of funny because you don't have full control over this place because it's not your place. But at the same time, if you purchase a place, you don't have a full control of moving in and out because that's your place.
You're tied to it.
Yeah.
I support this reading. Never leave. Oh, this place is awesome. It's literally awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
To a podcast reading.
To our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's okay. I
Okay.
think. Yeah, that's okay. What should we ask specifically?
The fate.
The fate. How do you see the future of this podcast going?
Let's see.
Mm.
Let's see how it has been first. Okay, the chorus says, you guys were doing it for fun, like it's to meet people, to share what you're feeling, and it's for the joy of it. But if you start thinking about realistic things like money and time that I invest and everything else, it kind of lose why you started this place. I mean, why you started this podcast. It says isn't it like, what is the purpose of thinking about like practitioner stuff when it started from no practitioner, like practical reasons. Because it says like you're worried about like what to say, what to do, what's the path, and like the time, the money, and then we put it into this. But like you started because there are things that you want to say, there are things that you want to categorize or more of a rationalize, and there are things that you want to let other people know and for the joy of it. So what's the point? So think less about the practical stuff. It didn't start from there anyway. But my question is, is the purpose of this podcast, I mean, did the purpose of this podcast change for you guys?
Interesting.
I don't think for me personally, I don't think I changed.
I'd say as we got bigger, it changed a bit. In a sense that, to be honest, personally, I might have stopped last summer. But it was more like, oh, we have people who like our content, and so I feel like obligation is the wrong word, but I want to do it for them too, not just for me. But originally it was 100% vanity, right? Just ego. Like, I want a chance to share my thoughts. I love podcasts. I just want to get stuff out there for myself. I couldn't care at all if a single person listened to it. Yeah, so I think it did change a little bit in that sense. But from a more practical side, I think we never cared about the business stuff. It was never a rational thing from a practical perspective. So that hasn't changed. But I will say personally, I've come to it. It started off, I'd say, 100% about like me, like a selfish thing. Of course, like getting to spend time with Jun and talk about things and learn, but it was always me learning, like me sharing, right? And I think it became more of okay, let's keep doing this for the listeners and to get the content out there. So
for when I was reading the card, what he said was, if you are gonna think more about the listeners, you're gonna get more lost. Because you are very strong. Your thoughts are strong. Your opinions are strong. There, like when you started this, there was a specific reason why you wanted to start this. But as time goes and more people joins, more thoughts to it kind of blocks your way. Like it's only gonna make you lose where you want to go. So for me, suggestion is do what you want to do. Because people like this because they want to hear about you. So more you think about what to do with other people, it's gonna be less of you. And I wouldn't really think of that as the best way for this to go.
Thoughts?
no, it's good. Yeah, very affirming.
And also, like, you guys are too strong in opinions. It's not like you can make something or you can find the topic or trends or whatever just because other people tell you to.
Me personally, if I were to be in full control of the content, I think I would have been more like that. But I think because Daniel, he has a very strong vision of what this should be or what the content should be. And I think that played out very well. Because like for me personally, I think I could have easily switched to like English learning. Because I'm like, oh, if
That's what people want.
I can just do that, right? But I think if we would have chosen that path, I don't think it would have been very fun for me, and it would have. I mean, we could have had more followers,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
But it could have been more like work.
Yeah.
And not
lead
fun.
to burnout.
Yeah.
Likewise, I think, Jun, you said sometimes I feel like I hold us back because I think, in a different world, right, we could try to get the biggest, most famous guests. We could try to advertise and publish and, make money and all these things from the podcast. And I think one time you said, like, well, let's just see how big it could get. Why not? Right? I feel like I'm always like, I don't want to get too big. So I sometimes feel guilty, like holding us back in that sense. Still do a bit, but yeah.
I think I always feel like Daniel's like the engine of the podcast because this was his idea, and like his curiosity and questions about this culture is what sparks the conversation anyways. That's like our dynamic. And so of course, because I'm a part of this thing, I always have like, I gravitate towards things that I feel like this is a better way to do, but I never think that that's the correct way to do it. I know how to separate between like how I would have done it versus like what this actually is, which is like his thought. So I think in that way, I think I never thought that I had full control of how I should drive this vehicle, and I leave it mostly up to him, and I'm very satisfied with that. And so, yeah, it's like 어쩔 수 없어. If he thinks that way, it's the way to go. 나 어쩔 수 없어. Yeah.
It says this podcast is very idealistic. It's very idealistic. I don't know about what are the main purpose of this podcast, like why you first started or like what was the goal of this podcast. I do not know. But the course says it's very idealistic and it will definitely take times, but it says there are feelings in you that want it to be resolved, and it's gonna help the feelings to be resolved. It's gonna take some times, but what it's gonna give is gonna be good enough for you to like the invest that you have put into this podcast. So yeah, do what you have been doing.
Cool. It resonates.
All right.
The reason why I said that, like, my thoughts and visions about this podcast didn't really change is because the very specific reason is what Daniel said is I'm just like the counterpart, right? So in that sense, it's the same thing. And for me, I think Daniel already knows, like, one of the most important parts about me wanting to sustain doing this is the fact that I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like myself doing a podcast. And because of that, I'm kind of liberated in like how I want the content or the color of this podcast should be, right? So of course I have thoughts of like, again, like if the listeners wants this, why don't we just do it to that direction? I kind of have those thoughts, but I'm kind of liberated in that way because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, as long as I'm doing this podcast, I'm very okay with that. Plus the fact that I feel like he's the engine. Yeah.
Ooh.
So in that sense, I haven't changed in the way that I perceive the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to clarify too earlier. I actually don't really, it's going to sound so wrong, don't really care what the listeners want from us in that perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Because this was something like a creative outlet for us. And again, it was very missional from the beginning. I think I just wanted to clarify the motivation went from very egocentric to more broader. And I think it's like now I'm more motivated by making sure that people who want to listen to this kind of content have it available to them. And almost like, well, it's not a big cost to us, so why don't we keep doing it? And so, yeah, that's what I mean by like the motivation changed. But I never thought the content itself, I never really considered changing it. Like, we're not going to be the deeply researched, super high structured, well thought out things. I think plenty of other podcasts do that much better than we do. So, yeah.
Do you also, can you read like animals' minds?
Oh,
Animals' minds.
Yeah.
It depends. Some animals do not like us. And some animals do like us.
Yeah.
So it will really depend. But what type of mind reading that you're looking at?
Oh, I was just curious because my cat was like walking back and forth. I have a cat here. I don't know if you saw him.
I haven't seen him yet.
I'm just curious if like you have the spiritual power to understand what he thinks, or like not like think, but like, is he generally satisfied living with me?
Aw, come on, June.
I haven't read.
You're such an insecure cat dad. Come on.
I haven't read it, but that's actually very interesting because I used to have a cat.
Ah,
I loved him very much. Past tense, but
he's
still.
right there.
Gorong has a great life, June.
Yeah,
He has an amazing view. Lots of green.
Lots of greens. Let's see.
Oh, so you're going to do it?
Yeah, why not? It's my first time, but this cat is very. It's like you. I mean, he is very like you in a way that more like a self-centric.
Self-centered.
Oh, self-centric. Yeah, self-centric. This is my first time reading animals, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna read the card. I'm just gonna read the card.
I'm so nervous.
I'm just gonna read the card. But what it says is he's very self-confident and also very, very like not arrogant, but more like my future is bright type of
Oh,
cat. He
it is bright.
It is. And I don't know why, but it says, I want to be like, I don't know if it's right to read this way, but I feel like I want more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want more food. I want more snack. I want more toys. I don't have enough of it.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
It is very accurate because so he gets fed by like a feeding machine and it only gives out a certain amount that I set, right? and certain people, friends, when they come over, because he's always wanting more food and he always thinks that I'm a harsh pet owner, or they think, because he's always asking for more food. My rationale is when I went to the vet, this is the exact amount of food that they recommended me to give him.
I think you told me you had him on a diet.
Yeah, and he is on a strict diet. So what my vet actually told me is that he is in a very healthy condition, but you must know that he is also in a very like an athlete diet. So he is always asking for more food.
I don't know. The chorus says, I want more. I feel poor, is to be exact. I feel poor and I don't have a lot of options. Like, I don't get
That's
to
very
make a
true.
lot of decisions, is one thing. And also, the chorus says, he gets to do a lot of things. It does.
Oh, it's
It
true.
does. He gets to make a lot of decisions. He gets to do a lot of things. He gets to be rich. Why do I have to be poor? Is
You
what
order
the
whatever you
chorus
want
says.
every night for dinner.
That's
But
very true.
At the same time, this is my first time reading
I
animals.
think it's
so
pretty.
I
I
don't know.
think I resonate with that.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
You could start a pet reading
Yeah.
niche. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for doing the live reading. That was so much fun.
No problem. Those are so fun for me.
That was very accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with my cat. I don't have enough.
Poor Gorong. Okay, I know we're running long, but when else are we ever going to talk to a Mu-ism?
Semi.
Yeah.
Mudang.
Semi-mudang. So on this podcast before, we've reviewed 2 Korean media that heavily were influenced by shamanism. So the first one was Pamyo, and then the second one was Gokseong. And so just curious if you've seen either of them, and would love to get your takes on those movies. Sorry, maybe we should have prepped you in advance, but like anything that you recall from them, your perspective as a Banmudang looking at it, anything that seemed wrong to you that maybe was a little bit out of place or inaccurate. Yeah, would just love your takes on those.
For Pamyo, I love that movie. I watched it like several times. The part that I really loved is it shows the difference between the Korean Mu-ism and Japanese shamanism.
Did you catch? I don't remember that.
Japanese? The whole thing was around Japan.
I know, but did they ever show a Japanese Mudang in it?
It does. There's a
I don't remember.
Pisune.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know if
sorry,
you
yeah, keep
recall,
going.
but there's a grave. The grave, the location of the grave was chosen by Japanese shaman. Pisune.
맞아.
I didn't know that.
Which is a kitsune, which is like a
Fox.
fox.
Yeah.
So it was chosen by a shaman that serves fox. And also, it kind of shows the difference between Korean ghosts and Japanese ghosts, like how they were portrayed different.
Okay.
I don't know if you recall, but there's Mudangs talking about it, and then they talk about how they shouldn't like interrupt or get connected to Japanese spirits.
Oh, yeah.
Korean spirits and Japanese spirits are very different. At least how we portrayed it in Mu-ism or shamanism are very different. I think it kind of shows in the scary movies in Japan and also Korea. Korean scary movies or Korean ghosts, it's all about the han. You know, it's about what they feel 억울해. What is 억울해?
Unfair, right?
Yeah, unfair.
Yeah.
They want to correct it. So if you kind of correct what has been wronged, or it's more of to 달래. Is to not just please them, like just make them happy, but make them feel better is very important for Korean spirit. And that's why we have a lot of food in rituals, you know, to make them feel better. For Japanese spirits, at least for what we say, like those spirits that would happen to be in a scary movies, it's about the one, which is grudge. They're very, very in grudge. So if there's a spirit that is with grudge, you cannot make them happy. There's nothing that makes them feel better. So in the scary movies, they try to find a reason. They try to find a logic to it. They try to make them feel better, but they fail. Because it's because of the grudge, they turn into be some kind of natural disaster. They are a natural disaster. So for shamans, they avoid them. You know, because the best thing that you can do with the natural disaster is to avoid them. So in Pamyo, they say, don't like, what are you get involved? You know, you're not supposed to get involved with Japanese ghosts or spirits because they know that they don't get pleased with what they normally do in Korean rituals. So I thought that's very interesting.
And I bet most viewers had no clue.
I also thought it's very interesting how, I don't know if you recall, but in the beginning of the movie, when they try to introduce the other two people other than shamans, two men, that helps deciding where to go and also to engrave, like how to engrave the grave. When they're introducing them, the little boy dreams. I think there was a dream that, wait, was it true? Maybe I'm mixing up, but like for some reason I thought that they're very like normal people, but they're normal people, but they are dreaming about certain things. So the reason why they had to engrave it is to see what's wrong with their grave. But they're not Mudang. They're just normal people, but they're like seeing their grandmother and trying to see what's going on. They later found out that the grandmother doesn't have a tooth, the toonie, the fake tooth, because the grandson took it to remember the grandmother. So the person who engraved the grave says like, your grandma is hungry, so you have to give it back to your grandmother. So I thought it was kind of interesting, just like a Tae-mong that we talked about, how everyone dreams about things and how everyone is somewhat vessel in Korea, and it's very natural. It's kind of embedded in our culture. I thought that's also very interesting. Yeah.
I had one follow-up. I think you said, very generalizing, but Japanese ghosts are driven by grudges. Koreans are driven by what is injustice or unfairness. But how would you describe Western ghosts if you had to put one word? Or to be specific, American ghosts.
American ghosts. I mean, I saw some American ghosts when I was back in States. I thought American ghosts are more self-revealing. And I thought it's very American, to be honest.
Like, they'll just tell you what's up.
They want to, because, for example, like, they want to show what they used to be like when they were alive. Or like, like when I was alive, this is what I did. This is, like from the look or so, like you can kind of tell, this person's, what this person used to do, or like how this person died and everything. It was very self-explanatory.
I see. Yeah.
Which is very, American.
They
which
want you to know about them, their life before.
Yeah. And also, like, it was easy to see that there was a ghost because, you know, like the light, like, you know, like when we say paranormal activities, you know, like it was very obvious, but it was also at the same time not as scary. It was more of self-revealing, like, hey, I'm here kind of thing. Of course, you know, like it would be different if you go to a super haunted places or like a dangerous places, but I would never go to those places. But when I see the general ghosts because I went to a very old school. My college is very old. It has been there for hundreds of years. And when I saw ghosts in my school, it was very self-explanatory and more wanted, like they wanted to show their story. So it was really interesting to see the difference. Yeah.
That does sound very American.
Yeah.
The ghosts in Bali is also very different.
Bali?
Like
Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia. Indonesia. When I went to Bali, it was very scary because in the sun, everything is perfect. The weather is perfect. Everything is so nice. It's like heaven. When sun goes down, it's like animalistic. Their ghost is very animalistic. I haven't really seen a lot of human ghosts in Bali. My sister and I actually seen one, but in general, they are in groups of animals. Yeah, it's like they're in
packs.
In packs. Human ghosts are not in packs. I've never seen a human ghost in packs. It's like they're in different dimensions. When you'll see one here, there, but it's not like they're not communicating. I haven't really seen like two ghosts like talking to each other in my life. But animal ghosts, they're always going around in packs. So it was like me in front of the packs of mountain lions. It was very scary. But yeah, the human ghosts are not that bad, but animal ghosts are scary because there's no logic to it. You cannot talk to them. You cannot make sense of anything because they are in different logics. Yeah.
How often do you have ghost sights?
I've seen them more when I was younger, but since I've been reading tarot and focusing more, finding my channel to release my energy, it's been less of them. And especially after the rituals, but I still have a very strong sense sometimes that I have to turn my light on today because I can see that someone is looking at me behind the door. It's nice. Then I just have the lights on and I just put a lot of salts around me. Something very interesting. Salt, it doesn't matter which continent, like East and West.
Yeah.
Salt is
All of
always used. Salt and charcoal. So they're both used. And
Not
chilies too.
Red beans?
Red beans, I think, is very Korean specific. But chilies, I've seen them using in both cultures.
How about Gokseong?
Gokseong.
Gokseong.
Gokseong, I didn't find that movie too scary, to be honest. But I thought that the idea that they threw was very interesting because if you have seen the movie, the demon there, it speaks in different languages, right? And you first think that it's a Japanese, some kind of demons or like ghosts, but then this also talks to this pastor, or father, and practitioners, and the fact that they say that all the religion and all the demons are connected to as one, I thought that was a very interesting idea because when I was experiencing, the ghosts are a little different based on their cultures. So I think even though the movie itself was about Mu-ism and traditional, the shamanism and stuff, I thought it was very Christian and Catholic in a way, because it was a demon, not
Yeah, it was
just
the
a
devil.
devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a demon to it, not a evil spirit to it.
I see.
And it starts with reciting the
Bible verses. Yeah. That's one question I had, because again, my maybe Western context of spirituality, it's always so tied to religion, right? There's Christianity, Catholicism, there's Buddhism, Hinduism. Like it's so tied to these religions. But when you talk about, I think, Mu-ism,
Yeah.
it's just another realm of just spirits. It's not tied to a religion. And I think that was a hard thing for me to get my head around at first. It's like, oh, there's no like religious underpinning or association. It's just its own thing. And that for me is just hard to think about. It's for me, spirituality's always been in the context of a religion. But that's not what it is for you. It's just spirituality. Anyway, yeah.
I mean, there is a religion to it. Like, we pray, we go to this, not shrine, but like these places. We have these candles to light on. When we want to ask something, we will go there and pray for it. In a way, it's a religion, but it's like a little different from Hinduism or Christianism and stuff like that, because I think the biggest thing is there's a specific spirits or like god and goddess in a religion that you just mentioned, right? Hinduism, there are a lot of gods in Hinduism, but also like Christian, Catholic, and etc. But for Mu-ism, there are gods and goddesses that comes from natures, but also anyone can be God, because we also respect the ancestors. So I think that's a little different. There are too many spirits.
It might depend on how you define what a religion is. Because when you translated Mu-ism, you said 무속 신앙, and 신앙 means religion, right? So it might be another form of religion too. Yeah.
You said it. Do you see it as a religion? Because you just said it has a lot of similarities to religions.
I see it as a religion.
Oh, so you do see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it as a religion, and I think that's why I wanted to avoid becoming Mudang so much, because I grew up in a Christian family. I went to Christian school, so all my life, my religion was Christian, and then being in that field, this field itself means I am changing my religion. So I was very against it.
I mean, I might be off, but I don't think Westerners think of witchcraft or you called it paganism, right? I don't think they think of those as religions. It's just a belief system, maybe. I don't know what the difference is, to be honest. But, anyway, maybe it's just a connotation thing. Okay, before we end, we wanted to ask Claire if you had anything else you wanted to get out, anything you were hoping to talk about, things that came to mind that we didn't get a chance to ask you specifically before we close.
Well, for me personally, I chose this path because Shin-byeong was so painful. And, to the point that I had to go to the path that I didn't want to choose for my life. And I think one of the reasons my parent, like I was like briefly mentioning my mom, like mentioning to my mom that like, oh, like I'm going to be doing a podcast on tarot reading. And my mom was terrified. She's like, I hope your face is not going to be there. Like I hope you're not recording because my mom is still accepting and my dad does not know about this. So my mom was a little scared. But the reason why I was like, oh, like this is exciting. This is fun. I would love to talk about it. But at the same time, the reason why I decided to talk about it is because I know a lot of people could suffer from Shin-byeong too. So, like if there's anyone who, is sick or feeling terrible and you go to these hundreds of hospitals and they never say, I have no idea what's going on with you. And, like you want to, I'm not saying it's always Shin-byeong, but you want to find a different path to it or like trying to make sense of it, things like that. It's not wrong to look at other ways. I'm not saying you should, but like sometimes when you're desperate and when you're in pain, it's not wrong to find different paths to it. For me personally, I found my teacher. It's called Yeongsan Shin-byeong. It's somewhere in Seoul. But I found my teacher, and for me, all the sickness kind of resolved after the ritual. So I found my peace. I'm not saying people will find peace through this, but you could too. So opening up to different things when you're in pain is sometimes helpful.
Are there a specific set of symptoms with this illness, or is it different for every person? Like, maybe describe how the feelings were.
For me personally, I had a horrible migraine to the point that I had to take like MRIs, CTs multiple times. I went to different hospitals. I even had like a very big Chinese like how Chinese medicine hospital has this like acupuncture. I had very thick needles going up on my nose and like
That's
bleeding out. Yeah.
To try to resolve the migraine?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like had I like a cup of bloods like every week or something. Like I tried so many things. But for me, the worst one was migraine. And also when I was looking at a mirror, I couldn't recognize my face because it looked different every time. Also, I was having short memory loss when I'm alone. When I'm with other people, when I'm talking, like I was perfectly fine. I was working. I have a full-time job. I never had a problem. But when I was by myself, I couldn't really remember what I was wearing, eating, etc. So I had to be with someone else all the time, like my family, someone, So that was for me. My friend had for some reason, her skin was kind of like melting down. But the hospital didn't know what's going on. Like it could be psychological, it could be physical. Usually it starts with physical and then comes to psychological.
I see.
But everyone kind of has different experience.
It's just a random thing, but when she said like when you're sick and you go to hundreds of hospitals, like you don't know the reason, I was like, that can only happen in Korea.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I was having Shin-byeong in States too.
You couldn't do anything.
I took MRI there, brain MRI.
Whoa.
I was paying fortune to get tests.
Yeah.
And they didn't know
Especially if
either.
there's no, it's going to be so hard to get approval to get these tests.
So like making guesses on like, maybe your brain is swollen and like, I don't know, like maybe this, maybe that. But it took me a while.
I'm glad you're feeling better after the... Okay, well, that's it for this week. Claire, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
It was a lot of fun and very, very educational. So.
Thank you for inviting me here. It was very fun talking about this. And I think that really world has been changed by me being able to talk about this openly.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was very fun. Yeah.
Cool. That's it for this week. As always, if you'd like to support our podcast, the best thing you can do is share our content with someone who you think might be interested. Beyond that, please write in, leave comments, send messages, emails, etc. We love to receive those, and we read every single one. Finally, financially, you can also support us on Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get access to our Discord, connect with other listeners, give us feedback, and suggest future episode topics.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.